right at me.
Who
just made that noise? Is that Jesse in there? He just made the noise, dude.
They didn't even see that coming until right at the end where I'm like,
Hey guys, BB Funerology here with another video, this time on Big Brother 10 and its best moments, part 2. That's right, 2 parts, because this season is so good, it gets 2 videos. Obviously spoilers ahead for Big Brother 10, and if you didn't see my part 1 video, check it out. It includes a whole lot of fights, including Keesha's birthday. Link is in the description below. Alright, let's hop into the top 10. Number 10. This is right after Dan betrays an entire side of the house by evicting Jesse, and right after Jesse's best friend, Michelle, she wins HOH. She nominates Libra and Keesha, and then Jerry wins POV and felt extra betrayed by Dan. So Jerry could use the veto and try to get Michelle to backdoor Dan. Jerry decides not to use the veto, but he takes his time during the veto meeting to take a jab at Dan.
Told Jesse up in the HOH in the second week that you would give up your religion before you'd break your word. You would always be Judas in my house.
The reactions by the house guests are great, Dan's especially, but the other house guests are just flabbergasted by this. Which, honestly, I don't really see why. Dan explicitly told Jerry's side of the house he was on their side, and straight up stabbed them in the back. Honestly, it was very like Judas, so I don't see why people are so mad at Jerry. But yeah, Dan's reaction is amazing.
I don't know if things in this house can get any better for me. This is incredible. This is the one thing that I could have asked for. Jerry has called me out in front of everyone, threw a bunch of lies out there, and it's created so much sympathy for me, I can't even contain it.
The setup and delivery are both A+. Even production's use of music during the scene is really just perfect. I'm going to play it one more time, but listen how down and sad the music is, and then how it just dramatically shifts with Dan to upbeat and cheerful.
I don't know if things in this house can get any better for me. This is incredible.
So shout out to the editors because they hit a home run on this one. Number 9. The next HOH competition is an endurance competition, and it comes down to Dan versus Ollie. Opposite sides of the house are competing, so it's really serious and they both really want to win. Dan knows he's not going to last much longer, so he starts offering deals. First he says you're not going up, and if the veto happens you're not going up still. Ollie refuses this first deal. Then Dan offers protection for Michelle too, and Ollie still refuses. Dan turns the mist up all the way and makes every deal that he can. So Dan says he'll give Ollie 1 nomination and the veto replacement responsibility. And this is one of those moments where Ollie wants to have his cake and eat it too, and he gets way too greedy. But Ollie is fully misted and believes every word of it.
You're currently looking at Week 7, Big Brother 10 HOH. It's me, Ollie. I just don't have the title. I don't have the pictures in my room, but right now I'm calling the shot.
I don't think there's any doubt I made one of the worst deals in Big Brother history, and I couldn't be more excited about it.
So Dan complies, and he puts Memphis up against Memphis's wishes because Ollie said to do so. Then comes the veto, and Memphis and Keesha are in the final round, so Memphis is 100% coming off the block again. And Ollie reminds us yet again that he is completely misted by Dan.
Keesha and Memphis are in the finals, which tells me one thing. My power will come into play in the power of veto ceremony. So in a way, inside, I'm a little giddy.
I cannot believe how much Dan was able to pull this one over on Ollie. Seriously, the guy did just backstab your whole side of the house and vote Jesse out less than 2 weeks ago. So bravo, Dan. And Memphis wins veto, so he's coming off. Then the Renegades celebrate their win and know exactly how this week is going to pan out. And thus the scene is set for one of the biggest moments in Big Brother history. Number 8. Replacement Nominee Roulette. Ollie checks in with Dan to make sure he's still on board with holding up his side of the bargain, and Ollie is wavering on whether he wants Keesha or Rennie up, and Dan is just steps ahead. He's planning Ollie's betrayal, and Ollie has no idea. So Dan wants to play a game at the veto meeting and to have everyone say who they want targeted, but he orchestrates the whole thing. Dan gets Michelle to promise to say to Keesha, and Ollie to say Rennie. Ollie hesitates a little at first, but he's on board pretty quickly when Dan says that the deal's still going through. Then he asks Keesha, she says she'll say Michelle. Then he asks Rennie to say Ollie, and she takes a little more convincing.
Why would you want to do that?
Once you
'Cause
see what's gonna happen, you'll understand why.
What are you talking about? What's gonna happen? If somebody was saying my name, I'd want to say their name.
I'm not trying to put you in the fire. I'm not trying to do that. I wouldn't do that.
Okay, I'll say it.
And then, for the first time in Big Brother history, the show was genuinely scripted, and Dan was the writer. Then come to the veto ceremony.
So right now we're gonna play a game, a very high stakes game, and I like to call that replacement nominee roulette. Number one, you will be asked who you wish to have as a replacement nominee. Here's how it works. You say a person's name. If you say anything but a person's name, you're going on the block. First person that'll play will be Michelle.
Keesha.
Okay. Ollie.
Ready.
Keesha.
Michelle.
And Rennie.
I'll say Ollie's.
Now the thing about anytime when you gamble, you're taking a risk. And in this house, someone's gambled with someone else's safety. And unfortunately, you better know who's making a bet for you. And in this case, Ollie, you lost the bet. Michelle, go on the block.
And Dan just sticks this dagger right in Ollie and Michelle's back. And this was beautiful. Seriously, wow, what a move. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, it might have been entertaining, but did it help Dan at all? Was there any strategy to it? And yes, there was. But it wasn't to prevent Ollie and Michelle from coming after him. It was, well, I'll just let Dan explain it.
Memphis is not going to do anything that doesn't benefit him. And what I tried to do with replacement nominee roulette was upset Ollie and Michelle. I needed them to dislike me. Did it go overboard? Possibly. But I needed to get some dislike to me in the jury house so Memphis would still take me.
Wow. And it's so true. Memphis only does something when he thinks it's better for his game. So I think not only was this an entertaining move, but a brilliant one that got him a 7-0 perfect jury vote at the end, and the first one ever in Big Brother history. So hats off to Dan for making an awesome move that is not very easy to see why he did it without an explanation from him. Number 7. The whole double eviction was so intense. Right off the heels of Dan straight up betraying a whole side of the house again and not being able to play in the HOH, it was crucial for his side to win. So the HOH competition comes down to a tiebreaker. It's between Jerry and Keesha, which is so dramatic. It's one side of the house versus the other, and whoever wins it will win it for their side. Then they both answer 100, so they need a second tiebreaker. Damn, now that's how you build tension. So the second tiebreaker question happens, and Keesha clutches this win, and Dan is out of danger. And I think if Jerry won this, there's a big chance Dan goes home. This next part was a bit weird because we actually didn't see any nominations and jumped straight into the veto competition. I imagine it was because they had to spend so much extra time on that double tiebreaker. Dan wins the veto, so maybe he would have been fine if Jerry won HOH, but wow, what a clutch moment. And in one fell swoop, he boots Michelle and Ollie back to back. This double eviction had so much tension, and it was all live, which made it so much more intense. I feel like we rarely get to see pivotal moments like this in the double evictions. Number 6. It's the final 5, and Memphis is setting himself up for the endgame as best he can. Obviously, he has the Renegades alliance with Dan, but he also creates a final 2 with Jerry, and then he creates another final 2 with Keesha. And I think he stretches a little too far here, because Keesha and Jerry compared notes, and both mention how Memphis has created a final 2 with them. Then this is where Keesha trips up, because she goes to Dan, and Dan is able to defuse the situation and pins it all on Jerry. Then Memphis walks in the room mid-conversation, and they clue him into what they were talking about, and they say Jerry says Memphis has deals with everyone. And then Memphis says this.
Well, you know that's not true, and you know that's not true, so here we go.
Wow. The ball's on this guy to say to Keesha's face, you know it isn't true. When both of them have final 2 deals with him, Keesha really must have felt that her final 2 was real to not say something and just roll with the punches at this point. Number 5. So Dan wins the final 4 HOH, and he has to make his nominations. Dan decides to put up Memphis and Jerry and keep Keesha safe. The reasoning here is so that Keesha believes Dan is with her more than he's with Memphis, which I thought was a bit ludicrous at the time. Just the week before, Memphis saved Dan over Keesha, so obviously they're working together, right? Well, wrong. Dan again gets exactly what he wants because Keesha confirms Dan's plan worked perfectly.
I'm very excited about this because this makes me think that maybe Dan would actually want me in this house over Memphis.
This was another time where I'm thinking, there's no way that's going to work. And Dan just loves to prove me wrong every time. So I gotta respect his game because this guy really knows how to work people in a way almost no one else can. Number 4. So during this week, the house guests come into the house and there's a sumo wrestler just sitting there. And of course, Dan astutely notices the clue underneath him. Not that it really mattered because it just started a competition and didn't give him an advantage in any way whatsoever. Then they go into the backyard and there's a ton of clues and they're supposed to guess a secret phrase. Also, Jesse was in a monkey suit, which was pretty comical because the house guests had no idea it was Jesse. But a majority of the clues weren't real and Jesse covered up the fake ones slowly one at a time. And the house guests guess a bunch of wrong guesses.
My official answer is blew it.
Dog is a man's best friend.
Don't count your chickens before your eggs are hatched.
Fruitless exit.
What the hell is a fruitless exit, Memphis? But eventually, Dan is the one to guess it.
My first official answer is bury the hatchet. I saw blueberry, okay? You can't use the word blueberry in any sentence, so break it down to bury. And then you have an egg being hatched with the word it on it. Hatchet. So put together bury the hatchet.
Also, Jesse makes a noise right on his way out.
Right at me.
Who just made that noise? Is that Jesse in there? He just made the noise, dude.
They realize it was Jesse, which was fun and a neat little reveal. But then they bring in Dan to the diary room and tell him he's going to a private island and he can choose a house guest or a jury member. Dan decides to go with the jury member, but he tells the rest of the house guests he's just going to the private island alone. So Dan meets Michelle on the private island, and this is his only chance to patch things up with her. Dan does everything in his power to get her vote without saying it outright. He even throws his alliance under the bus.
Was it just your idea to backdoor me, or did everybody know about that?
Rennie, Keesha, and Memphis all knew.
But Dan just has a good time. He wants to remind her he's a decent guy, even though he stabbed her in the back. And this was the perfect move and potentially exactly what he needed. So I really appreciate how he approached this rare opportunity. Number 3. As I mentioned earlier, Dan won the Final Four HOH. Then come to the Final Four Veto. It's a competition where you have to know a bunch of trivia of various events that transpired in the house. Dan really wanted to get to the end with Memphis because he knows he'll beat him, which made it somewhat surprising when he told the audience this.
At this point, I have no vested interest in winning this veto competition. You may see the art of the throw come back just one more time.
So, throwing this competition was somewhat interesting because you actually couldn't see how the other house guests were doing for a majority of the competition due to the pyramid setup. But eventually, once you're close to the top, you can see over to the other sides. And then Dan is just crushing this competition and he gets to the top first. And this is when he sees Memphis is clearly in second and he actually is able to throw it. So Dan slows down and throws up every name except the right ones, and Memphis is able to pull this one out. I thought this was really ballsy to throw this one, but he does it anyway, and he got exactly the outcome he wanted. But most importantly, Memphis got the ability to decide who goes home, which brings me to number 2. Dan and Memphis decide it's better for Jerry to stay because he'll be easier to beat in the final 3 HOH competition. So they settle on Keesha, and Keesha reads the room and kind of pulls this info out of them.
You're evicting me, aren't you?
No, I'm not. Stop.
I can tell, Memphis. I can tell with the look on your face.
Keesha gets pissed. Her slow realization dawns on her, and she tells them she isn't happy.
Well, whoever sends me out of here better not think they're getting my vote. That's for damn sure. Better not think I'm not going to do everything in my world to change their minds in that jury house, too.
And this is where Memphis's game falls apart, in my opinion, because he stayed committed to voting Keesha out. This is the moment where he needed to switch gears, evict Jerry, and say, Keesha, you were staying the whole time and you had the wrong read. But he doesn't. And of course, Dan takes this opportunity to say he wanted her to stay and is fighting for her to stay.
I don't want to go, it's him. Dude, he's been sandbagging this whole time. I'm trying to find a way to keep you.
And then at the live eviction, Keesha takes this opportunity to basically shade Memphis one last time.
I actually don't care to say anything to Memphis. I would like to take this time to say something to Dan. I want to thank you so much for being there for me for the last couple days.
Then Memphis evicts Keesha, and Dan does one last thing. On her way out the door, he whispers that he took Michelle to the private island, and to finish it, aka to secure Michelle's jury vote for Dan. Dan does everything so perfectly this week. He gets Keesha out with her loving him and hating Memphis, and secures Michelle's jury vote along the way. This is truly some masterful gameplay. I don't think anyone's ever played to this level, maybe with the exception of Dr. Will, but even that's a maybe. Number 1. So at the final 6, Memphis and Dan decide if they get to the final 3 HOH and win it, that they'll break out the red bandanas to flex the Renegade Alliance. and it was a done deal because Memphis won one part of the final 3 HOH, and Dan won the other. So it was Dan versus Memphis in the final HOH, so it didn't even matter who won. Well, Dan won, so he was given the final decision to who was going home. And when Memphis gives his final speech with his red bandana on, he says this.
You know, it's just times like this where, you know, you can sit and look at somebody in the face and find out whether they're a true renegade or rather than not. So.
Wow, what a flex. It's fun when a rootable alliance does this, but when someone like Grateful does this type of thing, yikes. So Dan evicts Jerry, and right after Jerry leaves, the Renegades get one final celebration. And they got to finish out their plan, and they both celebrate with their red bandanas. And yeah, this was the most impressive final 2 until this point in Big Brother history. Sure, Dick and Danny got to the end together, but Dick was lucky to get there at all due to America's Player. But the Renegades were aligned for so much of the game, and were able to pull off so many high caliber moves, even if most of the heavy lifting was done by Dan. Truly an amazing season, with such a perfect ending. I think it's very fit that the near flawless season rewarded the best player with a flawless 7-0 vote. And that's it. That's my top 20 moments of Big Brother 10. Let me know what your favorite moment was in the comments. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe because I'm making a video like it for every Big Brother season. See you guys in the next one. Peace.
Suck it, bitches, was his last words.
He did not expect that. That was a personal attack, in my opinion. Not on just the women. He called us all bitches.